What's going on out there, YouTube? I'm back for the second time tonight. So, got a bunch of pickups over the last week. Ended up getting a bunch of stuff from Laserdisc Forever members. Had a ton of local pickups and had a bunch of eBay pickups. So, first person we're going to start out with is my good friend Kevin Michael Stewart. Hooked me up with a bunch of movies recently. Ended up getting from him The Hunted. This has Christopher Lambert and John Lone. Never seen it, but I heard it was pretty good. Also picked up The Professional. Jean Reno. Possibly one of my favorite Luc Besson films. You know, it's either between this and The Professional, or not The Professional, this and The Fifth Element. So the toss-up is still there. I actually have a copy of the integral cut coming in from Kevin Kobos sometime in the next couple months. So we're going to see how that turns out. Next one ended up picking up. Got Godzilla's Revenge. Never seen it, but he threw this one in just for the hell of it. Last one from him. One of my all-time favorite Brian De Palma films next to Scarface, and that's Casualties of War. Easily Michael J. Fox's best performance that he's ever done. One of Sean Penn's best performances. Not a big fan of his, but this movie he's actually very good in. All right, now the next person I have to talk about, that's my good friend Tony Ceccarelli. He works over at a store called Disc Replay. And he always contacts me. He lets me know when some cool stuff comes in. And he called me the other day, and he said, hey, we just got some Laserdiscs in. We're going to put them out Monday. Is there anything that you wanted? And I said, oh, yeah, you know, send me a video or a picture or something. So he sends me a video of all the stuff. And I said, oh, yeah, hold this, 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 and this. You know, I'll be there to pick it up. So this is all the stuff I got from him. Ended up getting John Carpenter's Christine. One of his most underrated films, but a great film nonetheless. This is a D80C pressing, 100% rot-free though, so very happy about that. Same goes for another John Carpenter film, Starman. Easily one of the top 5 Jeff Bridges films ever made. Number 1 will always be Big Lebowski, but this one's not too far behind. D80C pressing, no rot on it. Very happy about that. Next one, we remember talking about the discussion of open matte versus widescreen. Well, the thing with William Friedkin, very good director, the thing with him is he liked to shoot in open matte a lot. So for a straight fact is that I know that the movie Sorcerer is open matte. I do know that the movie Rampage is open matte. And I think there's one other movie that he did. I can't remember it off the top of my head right now that he shot open matte. So I wanted to pick up The Exorcist. This is a full screen edition, but like I said, I don't know if the movie was shot open matte or not. So I'm going to compare this with my widescreen Laserdisc and check it out. So next one up, got The Mummy. This has Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee. Never actually seen it, but been wanting to check it out. Disc Replay has a buy 5 get 6, you know, get the 6th one free. This ended up being my freebie, so I figured why not. Next one I picked up, one of the main reasons I wanted to get this lot. This is the Criterion edition of Carrie. This one is a D80C pressing as well. No rot on it, but this was done in the early D80C days, so the probability is fairly low. This one is actually special for a couple of reasons. Number one, first and foremost, this has the original mono soundtrack. All subsequent releases use a stereo remix. Secondly, Carrie was shot open matte. So this is in full frame, but you're actually not losing any image composition on the top and bottom of the frame. So next one up. Now this is the last one from him. This is the main reason that he got a hold of me, and the main reason I went there. Been after this one for a while. Return of the Living Dead Part 3. Not in the same vein as the first two, but still a great movie nonetheless. I've always liked this one. The only way to see this movie uncut is on either Laserdisc or VHS. The American DVD that they released used the R-rated version. They will be releasing a Japanese Blu-ray that has a bonus DVD of the unrated cut, but I do not know if that has been sourced from the Laserdisc or the negative. If you recall, Hellraiser 3 came out on Blu-ray a little while ago, and they did have an option to do an unrated cut. The problem is they had to source all of the unrated material from the Laserdisc because all of the original film footage had been lost. So we'll see what happens, but... And lastly, shot open matte. So full frame, you're not losing any image composition. So there you go. Next person whose name you've heard a lot, Peter Biancardi. He ended up picking up a lot of movies out in Stager. Now that's my hometown. If you remember on the very first video I ever shot, I told you that there was a lady in my hometown and she was selling a bunch of movies. I ended up picking up a ton of good stuff like the Star Wars box set and Akira, the Wizard of Oz box set. And that's all I got. Like, I got, like, a lot of movies, but, like, I got the choice stuff, you know? Well, she went back on Craigslist and said, look, I got all these extra movies. I'll let them go for next to nothing until for $50. I was going to pick up the lot, but Peter beat me to the punch. but he was nice about it, and he ended up letting me get a bunch of movies on commission because I had a buddy of mine who wanted to get into Laserdisc. I ended up selling him my 503 and my S201 because I just got a LDW1 courtesy of Peter Biancardi, the player I've been after for years and years and years. But anyway, I helped, I brought my buddy over to Peter's house, and Peter ended up, selling him the whole entire, collection, over 100 discs for like $100. It's a pretty good deal. And I got most of this stuff on commission, so for helping him out. So first one we got is Booty Call. Say what you will, funny movie, 100% rot-free DADC pressing, so there you go. Next one up, one of the crappiest movies ever made, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, but hey, it was free, why not? Got to compliment it with the original Mortal Kombat. Michael Jackson's Video Greatest Hits History. This has some music videos on here. This actually has the cut version of Bad, so not really cool, but you know what? It's Michael Jackson on Laserdisc, so I'm going to check it out anyway. One that I was very glad that he had, Little Nemo, Adventures in Slumberland, a movie I've seen countless times since I was a kid. Very glad to have this one on Laserdisc. Another DADC pressing, but this was early age DADC, so I don't think there's any rot on this one. Next one up, a movie I've seen countless times in the 90s, but glad to have this one on Laserdisc, and that's Kids. Phenomenal movie. If none of you guys have seen it, check it out. Really, really worth your time. There's so many good stories I could tell about this movie, but I don't want to get too drawn out in it. So, next one up, Cocoon: The Return. Only seen half of it. The original is so great that I don't want this one to taint my idea of it. So, but for free, why not? I'll take it. Next one up, Time Machine. Never seen it, but been wanting to check that one out. And lastly, from his Stager lot, ended up picking up Secret or Nim, my hands-down favorite Don Bluth film ever made. Most people will try to tell you American Tail or Land Before Time or All Dogs Go to Heaven. Nope, Secret or Nim's where it's at. Phenomenal movie. Glad to have this one on Laserdisc. These next couple ones, these were on consignment as well, or excuse me, commission as well. Picked up Batman Returns. Had to get this one to complete my other Batman collections. Not my favorite Batman film out of them all, but you know what? It's okay, none the same. Just a very, very dark movie. Next one up, this one completely rot-free, and it is not a DADC pressing. This is actually the Pioneer pressing. This is Men in Black. I have the Japanese version, but been wanting to get the American one just to have a rot-free copy of it. Ended up getting these two. Me and him traded for these next two. Ended up getting, this is the 1987 full-screen analog sound version of Blade Runner. Just wanted to get this to be a completist because I have like every other NTSC version released on Laserdisc, so had to get this one to complement the others. And lastly, the one we traded for, Village of the Damned. Almost getting my John Carpenter on Laserdisc collection complete, so this helps nicely. Next one, now we got all local stuff that I picked up. Now, in my side time, I like to go to like Goodwills and thrift stores and stuff like that, and I like to do what they like, they like to call picking or treasure diving. I try to find like a bunch of like rare DVDs or rare video games or something like that, because what I do is I sell those on eBay, and I use the money for that to fund my Laserdisc stuff. Like that's what gets me all these movies. That's where all my extra money comes from. And the one day at the Goodwill, I got really lucky. I found a couple of rare games there, and they were dirt freaking cheap. They slipped by them. But not only did I find some rare games, ended up finding a nice little stash of Laserdiscs that somebody donated. And just so happened they were also half off, so I got them for pretty much like $2 a piece. So we'll start off with the movie Dave. Never seen this. Now, I knew going in this was a DADC pressing, but what I did not know is that they actually pressed this one at the Austria plant. For those who don't know, DADC had a plant in Austria, and that plant was actually very clean and had next to zero defect issues. So this is an Austrian pressing, has absolutely no rot. More copies of the domestic, DADC exist than the Austrian one. So much to the point where Laserdisc Database doesn't even have a listing of this being pressed in Austria. So now I have to update the list and let them know, hey, there's an Austrian pressing of Dave out there. And that also goes for the movie The American President. Never seen this one, but this is a DADC Austria pressing. The way you find out it's not on the back or anything, you have to know about your mint marks. Like when you pull out the disc, there's these marks on the inner edge of the discs that let you know where it was, manufactured at. And if you know anything about your mint marks, you'd know that this was an Austrian pressing. So, next one up, got Cool Runnings. Haven't seen it in years, but it's a funny movie, so I'm glad to get that one. My ex showed me this one many years ago, Mole Flanders. I remember liking it, so I picked it up anyway. Same goes for To Wong Fu. I always liked it, so I figured what the hell, for $2, why not? Ended up picking up Big, one of Tom Hanks' best movies. Love this movie, so glad to have that one. Movie I saw on an in-flight plane ride back home from Hawaii. Almost an Angel. Funny movie, haven't seen it in years, so glad to check this one out again. Movie I haven't seen but been meaning to, Rob Roy. Glad to have this one on Laserdisc. I love Liam Neeson, so hopefully this is a good movie. Next one up, Leapin' Leprechauns. I don't consider this a full moon film. This is a Moonbeam Entertainment film. This is their family label. So, but either way, it's still a Charlie Band film. Been meaning to check this one out too. Glad I found that for $2. Another really good one. Very happy to find that one, The Dark Half. Very, very underrated George Romero, Stephen King flick. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Well worth your time. All right, that was the last of the stuff that I found at the Goodwill. Ended up going to a place called Beverly Records in Chicago. Peter had went there too. He got some good stuff, but most of it I already had. I went there to see what else they had. I found like maybe 4 or 5 movies there, so ended up picking up Midnight Cowboy. I remember watching this one like maybe 15 years ago, really enjoying it, so I'm going to check this one out again. Really good movie, I remember. Picked this one up, Alien Nation. Believe it or not, never seen it. A couple weeks ago, I went to a pawn shop. I actually picked up the complete series on DVD and the complete TV movie collection, so you know, finding this was kind of bittersweet. This does have a little bit of speckling on it, but it's totally watchable. You know, it's a 3M pressing, so what are you going to do? But like I said, totally watchable. The speckling is very, very unobtrusive, so it's worth my time to watch. Heard of a few good things about this movie. The Believers has Martin Sheen in it, so we'll check it out. Another movie I heard about, The Bad Seed. Been wanting to check it out. It was $2. And lastly, a movie that I remember finding one time at a half-price books. I was going to grab it, but I remembered to check for if it was a 3M pressing. Sure enough, it was, and it was had very, very visible rot. You could actually see the oxidation attacking the reflective surface of the disc. When I found this one at Beverly Records, I made sure to check, and it is a 3M pressing, but it had no visible rot, and it had sticky edges. Now, whenever I've come across a sticky edge 3M disc, 9 times out of 10, I have never had a rot problem. So this one has the sticky edges. Took a $2 risk, but guess what? 100% rot-free. Pulp Greenwich Village. Been wanting to check this one out for a while, so glad to get that for $2. Now, there's another place I went to called the Illiana Music Exchange. They're right on the border of Indiana and Illinois. The owner there worked out of a flea market for several years, but he finally got his own store. Now, the thing with him is he has a very unhealthy attachment to Laserdisc, so much to the point where he will jack up the prices on them just because he doesn't want to sell the damn things. Well, anyway, you know, he's been getting a lot of business, so he decided to hire some help. It turns out the help that he hired were friends of mine from high school. So when I went in there to look at the Laserdiscs that they had for sale, you know, they cut me a really good deal on some stuff. You know, nothing, you know, like, oh my God, I got this for $1 or nothing like that. But they cut me a pretty fair deal on them. You know, a better deal than the owner would have done. So ended up getting The Stepford Wives. Never actually seen it, but been wanting to check it out. Ended up getting Copland. One of my favorite Stallone flicks. Just a great acting job here. Still mad that he lost the Oscar for Creed, but what are you going to do, right? But anyway, Copland, great movie. Glad to own this one on Laser. Movie that I never knew had got a special edition, Capricorn 1. I love how they call it a special edition. The only thing special about it is the widescreen transfer and the, what is it, the AC3 track. But other than that, there's really nothing that special about it. But, hey, glad to have it. Next one up, As Good As It Gets, $5 buy. D80C, it's not a D80C, it's a Pioneer Pressing. Great movie, so glad to have this one. Another one that I was eyeing for quite a while, The Making of Invasion USA and The Making of Delta Force. Very happy to have this one. Never came out on DVD or VHS. One that I got, the last one from that score, 100% rot-free. Donnie Darko, or not Donnie Darko, Donnie Brasco. Very happy to have that. Donnie Darko is actually one of my top 10 favorite movies, so... But this is a great movie. D80C pressing, no rot on it. Very happy. Next place I went, not place I should say. If you ever heard of a website called, or an app called OfferUp, you find people buying and selling stuff. Well, there was a guy selling a bunch of Laserdiscs. Me and my one friend partnered up on it. He took the high end, I took the low end, but I was able to keep some good stuff out of it. Ended up getting a copy of La Femme Nikita. Very good Luc Besson film. Not one of my favorites, but I still love the movie regardless. Got an AC3 edition of The Hunt for Red October. Been wanting to check this one out for a while. Ended up getting, this one was one of the main things I told him I was snatching out of here. Anime Vampire Hunter D, one of my top 5 favorite anime films of all time. Akira is #1. This is up there, though. Great movie. This one, these next two, got rot-free on the first frickin' try. That'd be Contact with Jodie Foster, Matthew McConaughey. It's an okay movie, but I was just more or less happy to get a rot-free copy out of the gate. And then lastly, and yes, I got this rot-free on the first try because nobody ever does, Starship Troopers. 100% clean, no rot, not even a single solitary speckle. Very watchable, great AC3 track. Been wanting to get that one for a while. Sorry guys, got to finagle myself some room here. Next one up, never heard of this one. Midnight, figured I'd check it out. You know, it's part of the lot. Another one, it's a trauma flick, Jakarta. Want to check that one out. Movie from a director who I've actually met and conversed with several times. Movie I never knew that he made until a few years ago. Mad Dog and Glory. Finally picked this one up on Laserdisc. John McNaughton would be the director. He did Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Also did, you know, Wild Things, like his 2 most popular. Another movie he did called The Borrower. If you haven't seen that one, check it out. But anyway, Mad Dog and Glory, been wanting to see this one, so hopefully it's good. Finally get to replace my crappy full screen copy. Got a widescreen copy of Firestarter. Very happy for that. Very good underrated film from the 90s that never got a lot of love, The Crush. Very good movie. Alicia Silverstone, Carrie Elways. This anime that I have here, never heard of it. Possibly going to be selling it. RG Veda. You know, don't PM me. Don't ask me, hey, I'll give you $5 for it. Let me check what it's worth first, okay? And then we'll talk. So, next one I picked up. Got the original copy of The Crow. What can you say? It's The Crow, one of the best movies ever made. I actually ended up ordering a DTS edition of this today, so I'm going to be happy to get that in a couple weeks. Also ended up getting National Lampoon Senior Trip. That was the last one I got. Very funny movie. Has Jeremy Renner, who we know as Hawkeye from the Avengers films, his very first film. So get to watch him play a stoner crazy guy. So check it out. Funny movie. All right. Now we're on to the eBay stuff. First thing I ended up getting from one seller, ended up getting the Toxic Avenger. This is actually full screen, but this is an open matte full screen. Troma always shot their films open matte, so, you know, great flick. Been wanting to get this edition for a while. Happy to have this one. And again, we're talking about he gets a rot-free copy on the first try. Well, yeah, rot-free on the first try. Got a rot-free copy of Heavy Metal. Very happy to have this one. All right. Ended up getting this one from this one seller, but I had to, you know, use it to complete the set. Because you've seen I had Michigan Action 2 and 3, but I didn't have Part 1 until now. No rot on this one. Got the whole trilogy. Now, if you guys watched the last video, you saw that I did a Full Moon update. I bought a bunch of Full Moon stuff from this guy. Well, there was more stuff that I bought from this guy. You didn't just think I bought all the Full Moon stuff. Everything that I mostly bought from this guy was all Charles Band stuff. So, a lot of this is some early Empire Picture stuff. Almost everything from the Shadow Entertainment label as well. Just missing one movie out of there. But had to get the original Troll. Good movie. Always liked it. You know, I have Kevin Kobos. I ordered the Japanese disc of this from him, so I'll be getting that in the mail soon. Couldn't believe I got this one too. Rawhead Rex. Very, very rare movie. Very hard to find on Laserdisc and DVD, but I got it. No rot. This is a 3M pressing, but no rot on it. Very happy. Now we're on to the Shadow Flicks. These I've never seen, so I'm just going to do them quick. Got Assault of the Killer Bimbos. Got Parasite. Been wanting to check this one out. Demi Moore's first film. This movie I have seen, but I lied. I have seen this one. Tourist Trap. Great movie. Glad to have that one on Laserdisc. Now these next couple, haven't seen them. Creepazoids. Got Sorority Babes in the Slimeball Bowl-orama. Got Cannibal Women in the Avocado Jungle of Death. And The Day the Time Ended. And lastly, one of the most notoriously bad movies ever made, Laser Blast. If you notice, this is an almost complete Shadow collection. The only movie I am missing is Slave Girls from Beyond Infinity. One day I'll get it. I'll have a complete set. So, next from this one guy, another Charlie Band flick, Spellcaster. This was an Empire Pictures production, but company went out of business. Sat in limbo for several years before it got released by somebody else. Same thing goes for this one. It was the last Charlie Band flick, Transmutation. So this one, same thing. What ended up not getting released until, you know, somebody else got the rights to it. So been wanting to check that one out too. I think last two I got from that seller, yeah. Been wanting to get this one, Cemetery Man, or Della Morte Della More. Very good film. Glad to have this one on Domestic Laser. And lastly, another thing I'm glad he had. Chopper Chicks in Zombie Town. Freaking great trolling movie, man. If you haven't seen this one, check it out. Now, even though I dropped a bunch of money on all that stuff, I don't care. I was happy to have it all. We are now sitting on the last thing that I bought, and this is the most expensive Laserdisc I have ever purchased. A single, let's just say box set. The most expensive single disc I've ever bought, I think, was the Keep, and that was like 90 bucks. But this is the most expensive box set I've ever bought. But I had to get it to complete the collection, and that was The Golden Age of Looney Tunes, Volume 5. Notice how this thing is in nice mint condition. It has all the inserts and everything like that. I told a lot of you guys, I bought this sight unseen. The seller on eBay did not have a picture. He had a very vague description. And this thing actually sold for $172. Now, that is actually cheap. Okay, but $172 for this box set is cheap, if you can believe it or not. This set, if this seller were to put up this picture, okay, if he were to put a picture up, if he would have taken a picture of all the contents and everything, and if he would have put a $350 buy it now on it, he'd have gotten it. But instead, he put it in auction. It only went to $172 because people got cold feet because they didn't know what they were going to get. Well, I rolled the dice, and I ended up rolling a lucky 7 because I got the last set and I got the hardest one to get. You hear people about paying 50, 60 bucks for this thing. Well, those people are very lucky who have found it and gotten it. But for me to get this for $172, that is actually a bargain compared to the $250, $350 that this thing normally sells for. So, but on that note, guys, that is the end of this update video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be back in a week or two, and then I'm going to get some, I got another seller who I dealt with today. I'm going to be getting some discs in from him. I still got some Kevin Kobo stuff coming in, so we'll see what happens there. But on top of that, guys, glad to spend a few minutes with you. Hope you enjoyed the video. And as always, keep it spinning. Talk to you later, guys. Bye-bye.